Hey YouTube, I'm Mars1952 and I'm working on my John Deere 4300 again, and the turn signal had to be replaced. Turn signal combination flasher. This is a John Deere 4300, but this flasher works on many other John Deere tractors and harvesters and combines and stuff like that. It also works on international harvesters. It also works on international products and Case and some others. But anyway, a lot of tractors use this. It's way more complex than it needs to be. It costs $60 delivered, and I got the best price I could find. So I got one, tried to put it in, and it didn't work. The flashers flashed real quick, so I had to send it back. So it's going to be a week or so, maybe longer, until I get a replacement. So I thought, well, maybe I can just hook up an old bimetal flasher to the thing and make it work. And but anyway, I'll show you how to do it. So let me move the camera. Okay, so here we are. Got the cowling taken off. Got this plug exposed. The switch was mounted right up in here. And first thing we're going to do is I've got a test wire here, grounded. I'm going to find the hot wire. And it happens to be the red one, which is no surprise. Now the orange one over here looks like a hot wire too. We're going to test that. Nothing. Put on the flasher switch. Now we've got hot there. Turn the flasher back off. Okay, so I've only got two other wires, so these have to be the turn signals, left and right. But you can test that if you want to as well. I found a couple little pieces of wire here that will plug in. We'll go right to the hot wire and put one in on the green wire. And we'll take a little jumper cable and jumper across. There's actually you just jumper this way. And I'll look up and see. I can see the light going on. I'm not going to show you. I'm not going to bother to change the camera. But the light comes on. You do that for the other one and it does the same thing. One's right, one's left. So since we're going to just do flashers, we're not worrying about right and left. We're going to take this flasher, low power flasher. I picked it up at Auto Parts, CarQuest. It's a FSH552. But really, any scrap car in the world will have one of these in there. So I would suggest go to the junkyard and get one practically for free. Alright, so anyway, we plug one prong into the orange. Now we're going to make a jumper cable to go to these two green ones. Now the cable, you should use 16 gauge wire, and that's what this is. This is lamp cord, and you need about 8 inches. So my span is a little bit over more than 8, so cut this off to around 8. And you split it, or if you use any scrap wire that you can find will work, as long as it's 16 gauge or bigger. But you don't want to get it too much bigger, I'll show you in a minute why. Okay, we're going to strip enough to put connectors on. Is that showing up? We got it on the 16 gauge. Okay, so now the wires are stripped. At one end we're just going to combine together like so. And we're going to take one of these. This is you can see this is just a wire connector that will fit on the end here. Fit on the flasher. Take the combined end, slide that on there. This is 12. This will do 12 or 10 gauge. It's a little bit big, but that's what I had, so it should crimp down just fine. Crimp it down. Make sure you get a good solid connection. So the other end we're going to split a little bit further. That's going to be to go to the green wires. And for those, find some little spade adapters here, wire connectors. This one is specifically for 16 gauge wire, so that'll fit on there just fine. Slip that on there and crimp it.
Just a little bit more than it needed there, I guess. Make sure it's on there solid. Get another one. Try not to brutalize this one so much. That one's not on there, darn it. Okay, solid. So these go to the green wires, which you've tested to see which ones are for the flashers. And then just loop it around to the flasher. That's all there is to it. Now, when I turn on my flashers, you can hear it, and I can see it. I'll move the camera in a minute so you can see it. Here's one little important thing I forgot to do. I got the pigtail in place. It doesn't want to come off. Come on, there you go. Alright, so got to insulate that, because that's going to be hot and we don't want it to short out onto anything. Just take a little piece of electrical tape or heat shrink tube. Heat shrink tubing will work great for this. I'm going to electrical tape it. There we go. Find the orange one again. Make sure everything's plugged in there right. Okay, so now you're not quite done. You've got to take a plastic bag. Let me get it here. Slip a plastic bag over here. Now the reason I'm doing this is not watertight. If you want to do a little extra caution, you can put dielectric grease on these connections. But I'm going to take this apart pretty soon, so I don't want to do that. So cover it with a plastic bag and get yourself a twist tie or a zip tie. Tie that shut. Get it fairly snug. And then turn it upright like this and tie it to something to keep it vertical. That way any water that comes in will run down instead of running into your flasher. Alright, so I have to grab another piece of twist tie here. Okay, so here's my second twist tie. Didn't cut it quite long enough. So now you just put your cowling back in place and you're good to go. Now you can always use this extra hole for something else. If you want to make it look good, you can stick your dead turn signal back in there, put the handle back on. No one except you will know that the turn signals don't work. Alright, so let's move the camera and I'll show you that the flashers work now. Okay, well, the sun is shining right on these lenses, but I think you'll still be able to see it. When we turn them on, and we're flashing. So I just bypassed the $60 turn signal switch with a $5 flasher to get our flashers working again. Now, I never really used the turn signal switch. I didn't even know there was one on the tractor. I had it for 5 years before I noticed it. Just use hand signals. Of course, this doesn't have a cab. So anyway, there you go.